Hello everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for The Flash Season 2, Episode 14, titled Escape from Earth-2. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest episode of CW's The Flash. Now, last week was pretty interesting. We got to visit Earth-2. We got to see the differences between Central City from its, Earth-1 counterpart, and it was really freaking cool. And I loved all the little Easter eggs and references to other universe characters. We got to see Supergirl. We got to see John Wesley's ship Flash. We got to see like a futuristic Green Arrow. We got little references to Diana and Bruce Wayne and, Hal Jordan possibly, you never know. Could they ever show up? I really hope so one day. But at the end of the day, it was pretty interesting to see more or less than just the Earth-2's Easter eggs and references. It was really cool to see the Earth-2 version of the cast. And even though last week I felt it was very cheesy at times, like I feel like the characters, or the actors rather, portraying evil versions of their, normal cast members, it was just very cheesy. That's the best way I can put it. This go-around, it just felt cute. Like, I think that's the best way I can put it. It's like we got to see a little bit more of Earth-2 Barry, we got to see a little bit more of Earth-2 Iris, and of course Killer Frost, and like I said, they were very cheesy last week. This week it was just cute. It was like, it's kind of like having like a boyfriend, girlfriend who's like very sweet and just confrontational, and when you have a moment where you tell them these kind of things, they try to beef themselves up by doing something mean or trying to be mean or kind of a badass, and you do this and you're like, no, that's cute. That's kind of how I feel about the cast members of The Flash and their Earth-2 counterparts. Like, Iris is a badass, Barry's a nerdy, dweeby little douche, and Caitlin Snow is Killer Frost, and it's just cute. It's just like, I can't take this serious. It was cheesy last week, now it's just adorable. But then again, this whole episode is freaking adorable. It's freaking awesome. I really enjoyed it. It had a very cool, I don't want to go as far as to say it had like an Escape from New York kind of feel, but it kind of did. I mean, like, it was pretty much the Team Flash trying to infiltrate Zoom's lair, try to get back Barry and of course Jesse, and escape from Earth-2 as soon as possible without having Zoom on their tail, destroying the barrier that connects their two worlds, and of course, saving the day. And that's pretty much the general gist of this episode, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like, at times, with an episode that has a plot that's so, like, thin, you can really find difficult ways from staying interested. But this had a lot of subplots that were just as interesting. You had Jay Garrick trying to be a hero again, trying to save Central City from this earthquake dude, which was pretty cheesy at times, but it was also pretty badass. I loved seeing Jay Garrick being used properly, because over the course of the season, we really hadn't had really good Jay Garrick POV episodes. We've had the first introduction episode, which was amazing, and ever since then, he's kind of been useless. This episode, he was very useful, just like last week, and it's just awesome to see him go to work. And Iris has her own subplot of her, trying to, stay relevant in her, job ventures. And you have the Caitlin Jay Garrick thing, and then on top of that, you have the Earth-2 stuff with them trying to get Earth-2 Barry and Iris and Killer Frost on their team, and then on top of that you have the real Barry and Jesse trying to figure out this helmet dude's, freaking Morse code type debacle, which was very compelling. I was very at the edge of my seat, just like, what the fuck is this asshole saying? Like, can he take off the helmet? Take off the helmet, you dummy, and freaking tell us what's going on. I don't know the logistics of this character. When we saw him last week, I felt like, oh, is that like, was that Edge? Like, is that the Earth-2, Earth-1 version? I don't know. I forget. The helmet kind of threw me off. This week, we got to see a little bit more with him, but there's no dialogue from him. He just taps on a wall, and you just don't know what he's all about. And then there's a moment, spoilers, but there is a moment where they figure out what he's trying to say, and he's saying Jay. Barry talks about Jay Garrick, and the guy in the helmet starts to freak out. Now, granted, who knows what that means? Speculate, as always, in the comment section below if you want, but in my personal speculation, there is something deeper within that character. There's something a little bit more that has to be followed through. Like there's something more in depth that character is hiding or not being capable of saying. Is he a speedster? Is he a good guy? Is there something weird with Jay Garrick? Jay Garrick kind of gets fucked over at the end of this episode. So what's the logistics of this? I really don't know, but it's very interesting. But of course, at the end of the day, there has to be some form of good moment in this episode where we kind of have to transition into the next episode where we get our villain of the week episode, as always, with the Flash and other CW programs. And I think it worked out pretty well. I think Killer Frost was still kind of cheesy at times. You know, Danielle, I think she does great as Caitlin Snow, but as Killer Frost, it just didn't work for me. I feel like her double crossing and then triple crossing just didn't make that much sense. And on top of that, it's kind of like, how is it possible that Zoom is so powerful, but he's finding it so difficult to kill any of these people? Like, he had so many opportunities to destroy every single member of Team Flash that it's like, are you like and this is my fear, because the show opens up very strong. You see Zoom mess up stuff. He's destroying a lot of crap in this city. He's making a mark, and he's really telling the city that he's out for blood, if you will. But then you listen to him talk, and the episode opens up with his interpretation of what's going on, and it's kind of almost, as much as it is a Barry / Jay Garrick POV episode, it's almost exclusively a Zoom POV episode, which we don't really get a lot. But when you start to hear him talk, this is my problem with it, is that he feels one-dimensional to me. Like, he just feels like your average villain who just has so much power, wants more power, but is very stupid. He's kind of like a James Bond villain. He's going to tell everybody his fucking master plan, and then he's going to get screwed over at the end of the fucking season where Barry will win, which kind of sucks because Zoom looks so awesome. He kicks so much ass. He's so powerful, and like the effects and the cinematics and the cinematography and everything that the creators over the show really put into, it's so phenomenal to see this character go to work, but he just feels a little too one-dimensional for me. And that was a major standing point in this episode, where it's just like, Zoom is kind of stupid, and he has so many opportunities to do anything to all these characters. And it's like, okay, you want Barry to be stronger, but how is he going to get stronger and faster for you if he's stuck in a cage? Like, that doesn't make that much sense to me. There's just a lot of things that Zoom does in this episode doesn't make any sense to me. But that's just my only real major problem with this episode. That, and of course the Killer Frost stuff, I felt was still a little too cheesy. Everybody else was kind of like, Barry White, stop talking to yourself, that you little douche. But everything else was all right and really badass and cool, and everything else that included Barry and this whole Jesse Barry trying to find out Helmet Head's freaking master identity. Who the hell knows? But it's just very interesting, and I can't wait to see what goes on with these characters in future episodes. We don't know like how that's gonna come together next week. Next week is gonna be the King Shark episode, which kudos to CW for doing a throwback to the Jaws trailer. That was really cool. Even the Flash logo imitated the Jaws logo, which I thought was really cool. Let me put it this way. Next week's episode is going to be cheeserific. It's going to be so cheesy, so insanely stupid, but I feel like it's going to be awesome because of that. I'm just saying, like, I don't care if Diggle and Lila come over. I don't care who the fuck comes over. It's Team Flash versus King Shark. This is going to be the cheesiest episode of the season, and I'm going to love it. But with that being said, final verdict for this episode has to be a solid 9 out of 10. It was a good, solid episode. The cinematics were great. The effects were great. The acting was great. It was very awesome to see characters actually be relevant that we haven't seen. Seeing Zoom go to work was really awesome, even though he kind of screwed things over for himself. And the episode really ends with an interesting cliffhanger, which is, who's the dude with the helmet? And what's going to happen to Jay Garrick? And of course, what else is going to happen with the future of this Zoom debacle? Because now that they've, destroyed the doorways to all the barriers, you know, how is anybody going to cross over anymore? So it's kind of like everyone's fucked. So it's going to be interesting how Flash, the storyline continues with this season, but this episode was awesome, and I can't wait to see what happens next. But with that being said, comment below. Let me know what you personally think about this episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think about Earth-2, escaping from Earth-2, rather? What did you think about Killer Frost? Jesse, Harrison Wells getting Jesse back, which I thought was a very sweet, awesome episode. That's like the 3 best words I can use. This episode was or 4 rather. It was badass, it was sweet, it was adorable, and it was cute. It was just like Hello Kitty episode. It was just, this is awesome. This is so nice. And then it gets really fucked up with Zoom. And then it's a Flash episode at the end of the day. So it was really awesome overall. But let me know what you personally think. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonks12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Jonks12.